Is blindness a barrier? No.
Is deafness a barrier? No.
Are mobility, learning, cognitive disabilities, speech impairments and others, or even a combination of them, barriers? No way. Lack of accessibility is.
Welcome to Web Accessibility for All.
Follow the blind. This journey starts now.
Hello, my friend. Welcome back to Web Accessibility for All. I am Ariel, your host. Today, we are unpacking one of the HTML's most versatile tools for delivering responsive and accessible images, the picture element. Understanding this tag can help you create more inclusive, responsive, and visually engaging websites. Ready to dive in? Let's go!
What is the picture element?
Now you are wondering,
what's the big deal about pictures? Isn't it enough with image tags and alt texts?
And why does it matter for accessibility?
imagine you are building a website for a popular travel blog. The homepage is visually stunning, featuring expansive landscape photos on desktop and detailed close-ups on mobile devices. However, a slow loading time in smaller screens is impacting the user experience due to the large image files. At its core, the picture element lets you serve different images depending on the user's device or screen size. It's like a translator for your visuals, adapting them to speak the language of desktop, mobile, or anything in between.
Syntax and implementation.
We can declare the picture element in different ways.
1. Basic picture declaration.
The simplest way to use the picture element is by placing your source tags inside it and specifying image sources for different conditions. Here is how we can do it.
Less picture greater. Less source. Set equals image dot of if. Type equals image slash of if greater. Less source. Set equals image dot web. Type equals image slash web greater. Less img. src equals image dot jpg. Alt equals a scenic view of the mountains greater. Less slash picture greater.
In this example, we are offering the ABIF as the preferred format for modern browsers, with a WebP fallback for other browsers. If the browser doesn't support either of those, it will fall back to the JPEG format provided in the image tag.
2. Using the media attribute for responsive images.
A powerful feature of the source element is the media attribute, which acts like a CSS media query. It lets you specify different images based on the screen size or other conditions. This helps improve both performance and accessibility by serving the most appropriate image.
Less picture greater. Less source. Set equals image large dot jpg. Media equals min width 800px greater. Less source. Set equals image medium dot jpg. Media equals min width 500px greater. Less img. src equals image small dot jpg. Alt equals a scenic view of the mountains greater. Less slash picture greater.
In this setup, if the screen width is 800 pixels or more, the browser will load the large image. If it's between 500 pixels and 799 pixels, the medium-sized image is used. And if it is smaller than 500 pixels, the smallest image is loaded by default. This approach helps to avoid loading large images on mobile devices or smaller screens, improving performance.
3. Combining Circset and media for more specific control.
We can also combine the source set and media attributes within a single source tag to provide different images based on both the device's display and the viewport size.
Less picture greater. Less source. Circset equals image hires dot of if. Media equals min width 800 px and resolution 2 dppx. Type equals image slash of if greater. Less source. Circset equals image web dot web. Media equals min width 500 px. Type equals image slash web greater. Less img. src equals image.jpg. Alt equals a scenic view of the mountains greater. Less slash picture greater.
This example serves high-resolution ABIF images for devices that have retina displays and are at least 800 pixels wide.
4. Using sizes for more control on image widths.
If you want to go even further with responsiveness, you can use the sizes attribute along with sourceset to tell the browser how large an image will be displayed.
Less picture greater. Less source. Circset equals image 1200 px.jpg 1200w. Image 800 px.jpg 800w. Sizes equals min width 800 px 1200 px 100 vw. Type equals image slash jpeg greater. Less img. src equals image.jpg. Alt equals a scenic view of the mountains greater. Less slash picture greater.
Here we are telling the browser to load the 1200 pixels wide image when the screen is at least 800 pixels wide, and use the 100% viewport for smaller screens. This helps in ensuring efficient use of bandwidth and gives the user the best experience without overloading them with large images that will never be shown.
Accessibility and usability.
Accessibility lives in the image tag. That's where we provide the alt attribute. This description will be announced by screen readers no matter which image is shown. This directly aligns with WCAG's guideline on non-text content. Now think about users with cognitive disabilities who might find poorly scaled images distracting. By serving device-appropriate visuals, Picture minimizes cognitive load, ensuring a smoother experience for everyone.
So I want the desktop image to show the entire beach, but on mobile, just focus on the pier.
Got it. Picture is like a framing tool. It keeps the focus where it matters most, no matter the screen size.
Pro tip.
For alt text, describe the most universally relevant aspect of the image. For example, a serene beach at sunset works for both a wide desktop image and a mobile close-up of the shoreline.
WCAG, WAY, and beyond.
According to the Web Accessibility Initiative, WAY, using fallback mechanisms like the picture element, ensures content is accessible to everyone, even if certain formats or features aren't supported. This aligns with WCAG's emphasis on adaptability and robustness.
The client's thrilled with the way the images scale. They said it feels professional and accessible.
Told you picture wasn't just a pretty face, it's the glue holding our visual story together.
Okay, but what if we need to dynamically change the images based on user interactions, like a dark mode toggle?
When does the browser decide which is the appropriate source to use?
On initial page load, the browser evaluates the viewport size, device pixel ratio, and available source elements to choose the most suitable image. If the user manually resizes the browser window, it will re-evaluate the picture element and may swap in a more appropriate image source if necessary. If the new image is already cached, the browser will likely use the cached version.
What about JavaScript?
The browser does not re-evaluate available sources when the DOM is modified dynamically. So, if you update sources elements with JavaScript, you need to consider the following choices.
1. Remove and reinsert the picture element.
This forces the browser to re-evaluate which source to use.
2. Manually change the image tagged src attribute.
The img inside the picture is what actually loads the image. Updating its source attribute forces an update.
Now, I wonder, how do screen readers handle this? Does it confuse them?
Good news! Screen readers only interact with the img element. The source tags are ignored, so as long as the alt text is solid, users relying on assistive technologies will have a consistent experience.
Pitfalls and best practices.
First, you can't assign different alt texts to different source elements. If you need to do that, it's probably more convenient to use another picture element. Second, watch out for performance. Make sure your images are optimized, especially the big ones, or you'll defeat the purpose of using picture. Finally, always plan and organize your assets carefully. Serving multiple versions of an image can get messy, but tools like image processing libraries and a clear maintenance plan can help.
Wrapping it up.
To summarize, the picture element offers
1. Responsive design.
serve the right image to the right device.
2. Art direction.
Tailor your visuals to different screens.
3. Accessibility.
Maintain a consistent experience for screen readers.
4. Performance optimization.
Save bandwidth and speed up loading time. So, my friend, whether you are working on an e-commerce site or a portfolio, Picture is your go-to for responsive, accessible images. The picture element is more than just an HTML5 tag. It's a symbol of thoughtful design and inclusive development. It bridges the gap between creativity and functionality, making the web a better place for everyone. Thanks for joining me today on Web Accessibility for All. Until next time, keep coding for inclusivity. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining us today. Subscribe for a new challenge next week. And don't be shy. Leave us a review or ask your accessibility questions online. See you next week for another episode of Web Accessibility for All.